Welcome to Keep Betting. We're going to talk the Tuesday, January 31st college basketball slate. We're going to look over my projections and see value that I have found in the market. I believe there's 4 games overall. We're going to look at those, manual input, see if I agree with the numbers that are posted, check the market, and hopefully get you some good wagers for this Tuesday. Your time is very valuable, so we're going to crank through this. If you enjoy, hit the like button. We're going to make these every day heading into March Madness, so be sure to subscribe, and let's hop straight into it. So as you can see, the 4 highlighted spots are the Maryland over, the Iowa under, UNLV outright. I believe they're a 3-point dog. We're going to check the market in just a second. And Illinois is too big of a favorite, so we like the Nebraska as the underdog. So in the Maryland game, total you can get 138 at Betfred. I have this at 145, so agree on the over there from the market stand. The Iowa game is at 150, bet Chris, and I have a 140, so 10 points, plenty of value there. I'm struggling. The UNLV game, they're a 3.5-point dog, so I have them outright. We'll take the 140 at Caesars for the sake of this show. And then Illinois, I have as an 8.5-point favorite. I believe they're currently a 14-point favorite. Versus Nebraska, you can get 14.5 at circa minus 108. So do we agree with our numbers saying that we should bet the Maryland over 138? It's at 145. Ken Palm says yes, they have it at 142. And why is that? So basically what we try to do is figure out the reason that our numbers pulled up something that maybe the market didn't. Here you can see Maryland is 360th in average defensive possession length. They're able to slow down teams a ton. The issue is Indiana is the exact opposite. They're going to go fast. So this pace is going to play more towards the Indiana pace of play, which is 108th in the nation. They're really not slow offensively, so not really a worry there. And that's been Indiana's only slow point. This is due to just some good defense. Like you see teams having to slow down and set up offense, set up possessions. And the big thing here for me, and the reason that I would not play this game and I'm going to lay off overall, is Indiana and Maryland, if you watch these teams play very similar schematics. Indiana is going to run basically 5 out. They have Trace Jackson-Davis. He is a big, but he's 6'9". He can guard. I said Indiana play a 5 out. Maryland's going to play a 5 out. And Indiana has 5 players who can stick out with them. Dante Scott, 6'8". Julian Reese, 6'9". They're going to try to, it's not exactly a 5 out, but it is 5 guys roaming. Basically, they don't have a set center, so I think that Indiana matches up really well and forces this game to be played with really good defense. And I don't think that in most cases this is played as fast as my numbers probably output. I understand what my numbers are thinking. Simply put, my numbers have both teams slow on the defensive end, but fast on the offensive end. Offense has got to override and precedent the defense, especially with an Indiana team on the road that doesn't shoot the 3 ball. There's no reason to think that their offense is going to struggle because they don't really have to hit shots. So I understand what my numbers were thinking, but I would have to disagree here. I don't like the under by any means, but I'm not going to play the over here. To the next one, the Iowa game. Iowa is a team that has kicked my tail, but Iowa plays near the fastest in the nation. They're 42nd in tempo. They're playing a Northwestern team that basically is the exact opposite, 224th. Defensively, they've been pretty fast, so that actually plays well to this under, because Iowa's going to continue to do what they've done. So we're going to see, it's not going to be a different change in scheme by any means, but can Northwestern stop this Iowa team? I really don't think that Iowa has a ton of scorers other than Chris Murray. And they've dealt with a lot of internal issues. I do understand where my model was coming with this. 150 does seem like a really high number. I think that it was kind of overweighted due to these 2 games, which I don't believe that Northwestern can play this type of basketball very frequently. Even though, so they shot 45% from 3. I don't think that you see that very often. And Minnesota's defense is basically a walk in the park. I think that you see more games that are played in the relative tempo. That said, we've seen Michigan games where Northwestern does get a little leaky. And if you're going to get leaky, it's not versus Iowa team, because they really want to run. At 150, I think you're probably getting a decent bet. But I'm not just quick to go bet an under in an Iowa basketball game. So I don't hate that one. We'll leave that for the YouTube wagers, or however we're going to document this, to just see like what's worth your time. Next, we have Colorado State versus UNLV. I have UNLV winning outright as a 3.5-point dog. I think that the biggest issue here, and the reason that I have this, is right here. I think that the home court advantage given by market is significantly higher than what I have it at. I don't think the Colorado State's the 83rd biggest home court advantage in the nation, by any means. And well, I think that they match up pretty well. And as a 3-point dog on the road, you're getting a little bit of value as a live dog. I believe I saw that they were 140. So this will be my biggest upset of the day. I have UNLV outright versus Colorado State. And finally, we have the Illinois game, which is an interesting one. I have them at 8-point favorite, and they're a 14.5-point favorite, playing a Nebraska team who has sucked. But they're 100th in the nation. I think they're being a little undervalued at this point. Nebraska's not good by any means, but I do really hate this Illinois team. I think Terrence Shannon's a really good basketball player, but I've talked about this on podcasts, and if you've seen what I do before, I don't think that Matthew Meyer should be a significant role player for any basketball team. He's a good shooter, but that's basically it. He doesn't really want to pass the ball much at all. It looks like he has worked on it a little bit, but I'm still not buying any futures on the idea that Matthew Meyer is a good basketball player. 14 points just seems like a ton. The issue here is Nebraska has really sucked. We lost by basically 20 to Maryland, lost by 15 to Northwestern, got beat by 11 by Penn State. These are all teams that are not as good as Illinois. So I do understand the market's buy of Illinois and the sell of Nebraska. That said, this is a Nebraska team that was a 16-point dog versus Purdue. And do I think that Illinois is a 2-point differential between Purdue? I don't at all. So I'm going to stick with my number. That's all we got. Straight to the point. Knock out a couple games. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comments below. If you have questions about tomorrow's slate and you want to ask them before these videos are made, be sure to comment in the projection post on Keep Betting News Twitter, and I'll be sure to go over a game that you want me to go over in tomorrow's slate. I want to crank these out as fast as possible, make probably 4, 5, 6 minute videos so that you can get as much information in the shortest amount of time possible. There's people who waste your time, not trying to be one of those. So that said, if you like this, leave a like. I'll be sure to subscribe. I'm knocking these out every single day. Hope you enjoy. See you.